Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
To the second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Board with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep. Monday, September 23rd, 2024. I am Jimmy here with Chris and Jay-Z. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. And all those that are listening throughout the week, we see you. We appreciate y'all. But also the people that are in the chat live right now. Marie, Matt, Dave, Randy, Brad, thanks y'all for tuning in. We got a great show for you guys tonight. We got Ron and Tyler Rutherford on the show. We're going to talk about a lot of things, including Tyler's racing career and everything that Ron does for the world of sprint car racing and get his opinion on some things. We're also going to recap the weekend that was Williams Grove on Friday night. Unfortunately, BAPS on Saturday got canceled. We'll talk about that briefly. And then High Limit, the Four Crown Nationals, World of Outlaws out at Tulare, and also a emotional night at Sharon. So we'll talk about that and preview the week ahead. Chris, Jay-Z, how you guys doing tonight?
Very good. Happy to be here.
Doing great. Watched the race this week. Saw Brad. Saw Jeremy. I'm happy.
You went to a race. How about that one?
I know.
Dude,
Crazy.
He tapped me on the shoulder. I was talking to someone. He tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and I was like, "Holy shit, that's Chris. He's real. He's a person."
Just saw Brad's face. He hadn't seen me since June. He's like, whoa.
Yeah, you didn't get any prettier.
Brad almost walked again, boys.
Well, you know who he might have almost walked. You didn't run. What's going on with that? Another failed
You got to
attempt.
talk to Mr. Seth Dietrich, who is afraid to use his little legs because he's a young little kid.
Yeah.
And he's scared. He doesn't want to be beat by an old dude. That's fine.
Yeah, see, even Aunt Bay.
Maybe if everyone just bullies Seth. If everyone just bullies Seth, that's all you have to do. I'm ready. I'll lace up.
I think we got to plan something for National Open, maybe during the Chili Cook-Off, because we will be doing a live stream at the Chili Cook-Off. We'll talk about more about that later on. Things are coming together there. We're really excited about that. But before we get into all that, let's bring on our guests, Ron and Tyler Rutherford. Ron, Tyler, thanks you guys so much for joining us tonight. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you guys?
Good.
B-Main Bandit there, huh?
I love the B-Main Bandit and the hot stuff as the as the names here.
I love it. What's going on, fellas? I appreciate you all being here. We wanted to have Tyler on last year, and we heard you don't come on because you don't like to talk. So we figured maybe he'll talk if Dad's here. You know,
No,
I don't know. Ron doesn't say a lot either. He's a quiet guy, so maybe we can get him to talk a little bit tonight.
Quiet.
So.
You know you're talking to Ron Rutherford, right?
He has no opinions or anything.
Yeah, I don't opinionate nothing.
All right, so this is going to be a little bit. Bear with me or us if we kind of sound like idiots because we haven't had two people. This is a new scenario for us, but a little bit of background, Ron. Obviously, you're well known for having Mama's Pizza in Wellsville, huge supporter of local sprint car racing, to the point that you've gotten involved and owning a multi-car team in two different divisions. But let's go back a little bit. Were you a fan first? The restaurant turned into you became a fan after having the restaurant, vice versa.
So,
what's your timeline? How'd that all come about?
So my father started taking me to Lincoln back in '85, and then I was hooked ever since then. It used to be a time where I couldn't miss a race or it was the end of the world, but obviously there's more to life than racing now, so we're learning that. But no, kind of like once I decided to open my own restaurant, I was tired of making people money working for them all my life. Once I decided to open my own restaurant, I just felt like I was obligated. I was so blessed to be where I was in life at the point, and I just felt like racing was my passion, and it just Mama's actually grew me a little, not grew, but made me a bigger fan of racing with the capability of being interactive with drivers and tracks and teams and stuff like that. It was a pretty cool experience. So just grew on me.
Yeah, and I mean, you get the restaurant going, and you're building a business, and it's a career. You weren't obligated to get involved, mix these two together. So, right. I think the whole world needs, and I think a lot of people are very appreciative of what you do and provide for the racing community. But you didn't have to do that. Like, there's enough on your plate with just a restaurant and trying to, people to show up and open the doors every day and make the damn food and get the food and going through COVID, like all the things that have happened the last bunch of years. For you to be as not just, hey, racers come see us, but you're owning race cars and you're delivering to the tracks like National Open weekend. Actually, I'm going to ask you that. How does that work? Summer Nationals, National Open, Morgan Cup, delivering to the track. Is that a pretty good deal for you? Or is that just sort of like, hey?
Yeah. Me and Justin became pretty good buddies, and I did a night there, and part of the package deal was they would add me to all the camper slips once they paid for the camping spot. It just has a QR code which you scan on your phone, and it brings up the menu and stuff. It actually works out really well. I'd say we had about 40. I think it was like between 40 and 60 orders just to Summer Nationals, and usually National Open was huge before we did this. We took a lot of orders up there, so I'd say it's going to be pretty huge come National Open.
So are you even going to be able to watch the National Open, or are you going to just be locked up working?
Both. I mean, I usually unless Tyler's racing, I usually get to the track around 8:30 anyway. So yeah, I mean, if I miss time trials, I'm not too upset over that. So as long as I get to watch the feature, I'm pretty good with it.
All right, Tyler. So give me your background a little bit, because from what I've learned about you the last couple of years, you didn't race anything in your damn life, maybe except a foot race, and it ain't with Chris. But give me your background a little bit. At schools, playing sports. Obviously you went to the races a lot. If your dad's a fan, you're a fan. But give me a little bit of your background.
Yeah, it's you kind of nailed it there. Kind of grew up going with my dad, and then every weekend we'd hit up the track, obviously, and then he took over his own pizza shops, so that all got going, and then I went out on the road with Brett Marks, for a little bit there, and it kind of realistically it all happened really fast with the whole racing ordeal. Like I don't know, like June of that year, I was with him. My dad bought a frame from the old Barshinger crew, and we are gonna run that. And then the year ended, and it was either I could stay with Brent or race next year. So I kind of started racing, which it's been quite the journey. It's definitely not something easy. It's you're learning 24/7 when you're racing guys that been doing it for 20 or so years, and you grew up watching them. It's you got to stay on top of your game to try to catch them, and we're just working to get there. It's a slow process, but I think we'll eventually be there. We had a few good runs this year, so nothing too horrible. But I mean, we junked some shit this year, and I don't know. It's been a funky year. It really has. So I mean,
No, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's about it.
Not
Yeah, so
we've
that
junked some shit. We've had some people junk our shit.
for sure,
We'll
right? I
just
mean,
say that.
it's part of it, right? And we've talked to
Right.
guys the last couple of years on this show in that 358 division, young guys who obviously are talented, can go race the race car, but there's so much stuff that happens in these divisions at times that are out of their control. It's kind of part of that learning process of like, listen, I've seen Chad Criswell. He's been around doing this a while. He's junked a lot of shit this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
not all his own doing, right? So
Right.
even the veteran guys can go through this. 410s or not, right? Are friends with Kyle and Cody, and they've torn some shit up, right? Troy's
Absolutely.
torn some shit up, and you get those bad luck runs, right? Your bad's wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes you blame yourself for being there. Other times you're like, what the hell could I have done? So it happens. It's definitely part of it, unfortunately, because the laps matter more. For your safety is most important, but the laps are vital. So,
Right.
in that world, I forgot you went on road with Brent that year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Brent. I mean, he might be the problem here because he had Dallas Shot and yourself, and they both decided to go be drivers after working for Brent. So I don't know. Like, I don't think Flood's going to drive anytime soon, and maybe that's why he went a different way with the crew guys. But what out there wrenching on stuff that helped you get going? Now, it may not have helped you much as of a driver, or maybe it did. I don't know. What did that give you, kind of that growth in yourself?
Yeah, so Brent was really cool. So he kind of gave me I kind of learned the basics out there, got going, understood a little bit more. He showed me everything, all the maintenance, and I mainly did tires out there. But I mean, as far as learning goes, it's pretty much like figuring stuff out on your own almost. I had Matt Campbell help me a good bit and Kirk DeWeese when I first got started, so that was really helpful learning from those guys. But I mean, I feel like I learned a lot from doing the wrong shit too, in a sense. So it's like bad stuff, but I mean, you learn from it. It's kind of huge. So mainly learning by myself, like after like getting in depth with the car, has been the biggest thing that I've learned so far. So.
And I've talked about that a lot with guys in here, and even your non-racing career, your real life, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but you learn from them and try not to do it
Yep.
twice, right? So it kind of applies the same way when you just not handed, like no one hands you the book and says, here, go do this live. Like you got to learn some of it on the fly, good and bad. So, so Ron, I'm going to go back to you for a second here. When he says, hey, I want to go racing, like I'm a dad, I got a little guy, your guy's not a little guy anymore, but what was your thoughts immediately going, really? You want to jump in one of these things? You're crazy. I'm in, but damn. So what was your thoughts as dad?
So it wasn't actually him saying, "Hey, let's go racing." It was actually me saying, "Hey, do you want to race?" Um, we had talked about it, like you have kids yourself. You have dreams that you want to live out with your kids, and fortunately for me, that was my dream. Um, my biggest dream was to get to a top level of racing where we can be competitive in the 410. And I could have did it several times when he was 15, 16 years old, but I didn't want to do it half-assed to where we were in the sport for a year or two and it ran us broke. So it was kind of one of those things where we wanted to do it the right way. We wanted to make sure all the pieces were in place, um, and that's kind of like where we're at. But I mean, it was a dream of mine, and it became a dream of his, and we both get to live the dream together, which is pretty special.
So, that first year, I remember it well. I got to know you guys a little bit, as you kind of got this journey started, and it wasn't easy. You had a lot going on. You're doing a lot of stuff. How did you manage it with, I'll talk to Ron here first. Like, you got a pizza shop to run, you got humans involved there, and you got to keep that going. Now you got race team times two, whether you had people come aboard that brought people, or, with Tyler's group that, Kirk and some other people helping in and out. Were there nights where you got to the racetrack and you're ready to go to the racetrack and you don't have enough people to get there? I mean, did you have those kind of nights?
No, I think honestly, I think we've been fortunate and blessed. We have a lot of good people on our side. I mean, I can make simple phone calls. I'll give you a prime example. Last Wednesday, Mark had some obligations, so he couldn't come down and help Tyler with the 410. So Tyler didn't really want to go, and I called Tyler Ross. I believe it was like, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's like, "I'm going to ditch right now." He said, "But count me in." So he literally left work at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it was, and met us at bat. So I mean, it's just people like that I can rely on. I got a lot of folks that are willing to help, and that makes the process a lot easier, especially for me because I'm not the guy working on the car. I'm not the guy spending 5 nights a week at the shop. I'm still running my businesses so we can go have fun. So a lot of that falls back on to Tyler. We've been blessed to have pretty good crew people. He's got a good friend that's been with him and since day one, and he's kind of committed to the team. So I mean, it makes everything easy when you have those type of people surround you. Especially with me, like you said. I mean, I got a business to run. I got businesses to run. So it's one of those things where I can't devote a shit ton of time to the race team. I just show up and watch the races pretty much. That's how my racing deal is with that.
And I'll say that situation is even unique, right? You see a lot of the dad son combos in the pit area. Dads drove, dads worked on cars, or a combination of either or both over the years. So they're like a team member, right? And it's not that you're not, but even that's a different dynamic than most, I would say. You got to find the people at the work at the pizza shop while you're racing, and at the race shop, you're not the guy that's going to go do and work on the cars and build them and set them up. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's an interesting dynamic too, because you don't see that a lot up and down the pit area.
Right, and here's the reasoning behind that. I look at it this way, not to mention names, but you see a lot of father and son duos that cause a lot of problems with their family. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a headache than what it's worth. I mean, you got father and sons that are arguing at the track or fighting or disagreeing on this or disagreeing on that. And fortunate for me and Tyler, we have a really good relationship. And when I got involved in racing, I told myself, I don't want to ever hurt our relationship due to a setup or the wrong choice of tire or whatever it may be. So that's kind of why I kind of like. I mean, I can do the basics on a sprint car. I think most people can, but I choose not to do it unless I have to. Um, and that I feel that it works better for him and I to continue to grow our relationship. But he knows, if there's anything he ever needs, he knows I'm right there with him. I just kind of like to lay back and just enjoy it.
And for Tyler, one of the things that I've observed over the last couple of years is his maturity. And he's a quiet guy. He's a quiet kid, but I feel like he kind of gets it. Like absorbing, like he said, went out with Brent, did a good job and had a great time and learned a lot. And then watching him as a driver, the good, the bad. He's never too high, never too low. It seems like. Now I'm not standing there all night. I'm sure there's moments, but for the most part, whenever I've interacted with Tyler at any point of the night, before, during, or after, he's the same guy throughout the night. At least in my observation.
Yeah,
Like,
for the most part. Give him three Jolly Rancher drinks, and you'll see a kid that doesn't shut up. But other than that,
Noted.
like
Noted.
at the racetrack, he's pretty calm and mellow. I remember Jeff Marks told me years ago, Brent's father, that Brent was always told, you ever throw any part of your race car, your helmet, your steering wheel, anything, it would end his career. He would be done. His dad wouldn't let him race no more. And I think Tyler kind of he understands that. Like Tyler gets frustrated, but he keeps it to himself, or he might talk to me about it, but he never shows he shows emotion, but he doesn't show the emotion that we don't want being seen. So he's pretty calm and collected for the most part.
and I think really that year on the road, Tyler, and you can correct me, but learning from Brent and just the way he handles him and the way he's composed, his personality is very similar to that. I would say. I mean, is that something that you looked at as Brent is sort of like a mentor? I mean, I would think you may have, not that you want to like go and say, oh fuck no, but like I feel like did you pick up some of those things on kind of how to conduct yourself in and out of the race car a little bit from that year?
Yeah, definitely. Because there's some times where like Brent didn't have no control and got wrecked or something. All Brent would do was come back to the trailer, start working on the car. Keep to himself. Just like really bad moments, he could keep composed. And the way I see it is like, for example, almost every night we have sponsors there. So if I go and throw a fit and get pissed off about this or that, um, I don't want to make a bad impression on sponsors, especially when they're right there. And the way I see stuff, like I'll get frustrated if I get wrecked or something happens, but I'm not really verbal on it. And you can't really, if I go junk a race car, I can't get mad and flip out. That's not gonna redo it. I still have a junk race car at the end of the day, so just rather get to work on the car quicker and then finish it up than throw a fit. So yeah, Brent's definitely a big mentor and somebody I look up to in that aspect, in the racing aspect, and almost everything he does.
Um, so the last thing I'll have here, and let Jimmy and Chris kind of go into it. I guess I don't want to ruin this. Maybe this is for later in the interview, but here's what I'm going to say. Last year's race car and this year's race car are some of the best two looking race cars I've seen on the racetrack. To my knowledge, you designed both of these. Where did your ideas kind of come from? Like, are you an artistic person in general? Like, is that something you've always had, or is it like I know what I like on the sprint car?
So last year we kind of went for it. I mean, it didn't turn out how I exactly imagined. This year I was just sitting there just messing around on Photoshop and tossing some shapes on cars, and I was like, "Yeah, that looks good, and that looks good." So I started sending my dad. I was like, "This would look really good on a car next year," and he's like, "Eh." And then I changed it up a little bit, and then we sent it to Zach at Leakside, and he made it up, and I think it's really nice. It's clean, simple. There's not too much going on. You can showcase your sponsors. They're easy to see, and um, yeah, I haven't been exactly artistic my whole life, but I can dabble up something here and there.
Well, and the difference there is like Chris here on the podcast, he's autistic versus artistic. So, like, it makes a lot of sense. But no, Chris, Jimmy, what do you
You
got for
made me this
Tyler?
way, JC.
What do you got for Tyler and Ron, guys?
Oh shit.
Tyler, my question to you is, you went out on the road then for a little bit. Whether it's a driver or crew member, would that be something that you would ever want to do again in the future? And what would maybe be like one of the best things about going out on the road and one of the worst things?
So yeah, I'd once my racing career is over, whatever, I'd definitely love to go back out on the road if stuff falls in place. Um, the best thing was honestly seeing all the tracks. Like Beaver Dam was super cool to see in person. I mean, we went to shitload of tracks. It's really cool. But the worst part probably is when you're sitting there during the week and you're already at your destination. You don't really do much. Like you go out to eat, you go do this. So it's pretty much all based on the weekend of racing is kind of your fun out there.
Chris?
I want you to go down to chat questions. There's a lot of good ones in there.
Yeah, let's go down a couple of those. Let's see. I'm trying to go back here because there was a couple in the beginning. Well, first, let's just go with this last one. Santos always asks this question, all of our guests every week. Do you have any merch available?
Yeah, we just put a shirt order in. It should be in. Well, was supposed to be in Friday. I'm thinking maybe tomorrow it'll be in. We did order extra shirts, so yeah, we'll definitely have some available.
Oh, cool. Troy Savage asks, serious question, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Tell Troy we're gonna ship one over to him over here after we get I don't know, it'd probably take $6,000 to ship it to him.
$6,000 in a month to get there.
Yeah.
Randy says yes, pineapple, ham, and extra cheese. That's a good pie.
Yeah. So Danny Dietrich came up with a good pretzel bowl. It's fried pineapple, ham, bacon, and mozzarella cheese. It's actually really good.
Oh wow.
What's it called?
We just call it. I don't know. We just call it the Hawaiian bowlie.
That checks out.
I have a question for you, Ron. Now, you guys do a lot of, you do a lot of sponsoring at the track, giving out extra contingency money. You've done a lot of give back where you're sending families to the races, which is awesome. I mean, that is great. We know tracks have an uphill battle a little bit with the way the economy is and just trying to retain fans. And we have a great fan base here in Central PA.
Absolutely.
What do you think can be done differently to help? I know you've been outspoken on this before, but maybe what are one or two big things that you think could be done differently that would maybe help?
I think the biggest problem with track star is, and I don't mean this in any bad way, but I understand they have to survive. I think the prices have went up, but the interaction has went way down. So I think what they need to focus on is interacting with fans more. You need your driver meet and greets. You need your let's go in the pits before the races. There's just so many things they can do that's beneficial for them that I think they could try to do. And it's one of those things where I think it involves everybody. It's the fans got to support the track. The track's got to support the fans. Even some of the biggest races this year, you go and you're looking at the crowd and you're like, wow, I mean, there's nobody here anymore. And that affects us as race team owners because our sponsors, they give us money to showcase their brand. And if you don't have people in the stands, we're not really doing a good job of showcasing their brand. So it's one of those things where I think there's a couple things that can be done. I've spoken with track promoters. Some of them listen, some of them really don't care. But I know Justin Lowe is one of them guys that he's trying hard to make a change, and you can see with the fan attendance. I mean, I don't know, but I would have to say their numbers have been up this year compared to years prior. It just seems like there's a lot more fans showing up at the races at Williams Grove. And some other tracks got some work to do, but there's several things that need to be done, and we try to do what we can do to get fans in the seat. I get a lot of credit for it, but I tell you what, I put a post on Facebook and my messenger blows up with people wanting to help and support. So I mean, it really is every single person that commits and helps out with us, sending fans and stuff. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, it's an expensive process. So it's pretty cool to have that many people in my corner. I have people messaging me still, hey, and it's a month away. What can we do to help? It's just one of those things where it's pretty cool to have that type of reputation to where I can have that kind of backing to where we can make a difference at the tracks.
Sure. I mean, Amp just touched on that.
As a comment to this too, what I like about that stuff the most, and we actually chipped in on the last one at Lincoln on the makeup deal there, which our buddy Ant Bay and Kyle Spence actually got our money for finishing ninth that night. But what I like about that is that when you kick that off and get that going for that 358 division, there are other competitors in the division throwing money in too. They're already spending money. They're trying to get the money to come back into their pocket, and they're saying, "Yeah, I'm in too." Multiple teams I saw chip in to help their own division and give more of their own money away to other people in it. So it's an interesting dynamic to me that I guess I think I've seen before, but the same people that are asking for more winnings are also providing and helping chip in to these extra winnings to other competitors. I think
Absolutely.
that does speak volumes.
Yep. I'm that kind of guy. I feel like you got to put your money where your mouth is, and I think everything that I've done, I've put my money where my mouth is. And I think people realize, like, hey, we gotta make a change and hope that they follow. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I said. I mean, it takes the tracks and the fans to make things happen, and hopefully 2025 is a little better, but we'll see.
So, Ron, do you think the tracks, they see what you're doing? Do they take anything from this that they can use, down the road where like they see you can post on Facebook and you get this huge, almost crowdsourced funding. So you don't have to necessarily go to sponsors anymore if you do it the right way. I don't know. It probably doesn't work week to week, and it wouldn't work every track all the time. But can tracks take anything away from this, you think, or is it just because
I think they can take a lot away from it, but they got to be willing to take it away. That's the problem.
it's an ego thing? They just don't want to. They don't want to do it that way.
Right.
I feel like
right.
sometimes it comes down to that. They have their way of doing it, and we're not changing. And until their hand is forced, almost like in a way, kind of like what High Limit has done to World Racing Group. They've kind of forced their hand a little
Right.
bit.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree 100% with that. I think it's got to be that they want to change. If they're content where they're at, I mean, they're content where they're at. I mean, I don't know their numbers or anything. I just know by what I see, and it doesn't look promising to me. That's why I try to do what I do and get the people involved. But we can only do so much. Like I said, like you said, I mean, it's not like we're doing it weekly. We try to support every track every year, try to do something like that. And, they can either go with it or run away from it. That's their option.
For sure.
Question for Tyler here from Santos says, where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, question for Tyler. If you were in charge of decisions for the 358s, is there anything you would change? Format changes, qualifying instead of pill draw, handicap, etc., that type of stuff.
I think something that'd be really cool to do in the 358s, maybe once or twice a year, would be a revenge draw. I think they're always pretty interesting. I mean, I know 410s are kind of the showing class for every track, but I think it'd be cool maybe like once or twice a year, or if it's even just once a year, race before the 410s for a feature. Now I know that wouldn't necessarily work out in favor of 410s, but if anything ever came like that, that'd be pretty cool.
And I'm gonna comment on that because I really like what you said there, and I think something that Central PA, I don't want to use Central PA. But I think that division with a lot of the young talent and personalities that I've gotten to know and we've gotten to know from this show, nobody knows these kids, right? Like Tyler,
Yeah.
if you walk around the grandstands at Lincoln Speedway and no one ever met you before, would they know who you are, right? Where have they seen your face? Not to take a shot at you, but we're not promoting that the faces and the personalities too. So that revenge draw kind of thing on the front stretch one night. Listen, they dick around a lot of times. I don't care what track it is. They dick around plenty. They can spend 10 minutes doing a revenge draw for that redraw instead of a handicap plus a handicap plus a handicap plus a pill draw. Like, let's do something different and get some personalities out here. Like, I'll listen. I don't give a shit if the track wants to steal the high limit thing and have a question of the night. Make it a good one. Come up with the content. You got 7 days a damn week to figure it out. 6 days in between each event, and do a revenge draw. Flip it between 410s one week and do the 358s the next week. The people and the personalities that get to know these guys and seeing you guys out there and going, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I can only imagine what some of the answers would be from the 358 redraw guys. Like, I can only imagine, and tell me that wouldn't create some buzz and whatever, right? Now maybe Flo's there, you don't, say something stupid, but I don't give a shit. Like whatever, right? Find me. At least there's people listening and watching, and there's something about it. Like right now, if you took the top 10 of the feature results and you walk them down the front stretch in plain clothes, how many of them would get recognized? That's no knock on you guys, but that's a knock on not knowing these guys. They just know the car and they know a name. Would they know
Yep.
what these guys look like? So I love that idea a lot, man. That's a really good like. Hey, tracks, listen up. Do this. Figure this out.
That's so
I
interesting
think
there.
going back to that question, I really like Williams Grove format because you get rewarded, and at the same sense, if you have bad luck one week, so the handicap system in the heat races, if somebody comes from 8th to 1st, they're starting on the pole. I like their system because I can guarantee you that if I would go back and do an average finish of where we or an average start of where we started in a heat race at Lincoln, it would be 7th or 8th every single week. And the track conditions don't allow us to have an opportunity to run to the front. You know what I mean? We might get in a qualifying spot, but you might not. I mean, you might miss if you miss the redraw at Lincoln, you're pretty much shit out of luck. I mean, it's the results
Yeah.
speak for themselves. Like if you don't make a redraw at Lincoln, you're basically battling for a top 12, and it kind of sucks because it's week after week. I mean, you don't control it. You literally stick your hand in a pill or whatever the bingo thing, and you say stop or go, and it kind of like it kind of ruins your night before your night even gets started. And I wish they would look into something, finding a different way to do that pill draw shit. Drives you nuts.
I just want to point out that this 5 people have so many creative ways to promote a race, and you add in Tony Sharp's good ideas that he does at Baths with the sportsman. Track should be listening.
All right, Tyler, let's talk about your season a little bit. Let's talk about this season. Ups and downs, some crash stuff. So I'm going to start with this question: is your knee okay? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good now. It hurt a little bit after that wreck. I'm all good now. We're trying to finish up a car for this week in the race, and then obviously practice 410 a little.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into that too soon, but let's just talk about it. How was that? Was that as awesome as you expected?
Yeah, it was pretty badass. The first few laps, I was trying to keep that thing on the ground because it just wanted to. Like a 358 and a 410. It felt like the car's like has that bit more power where it just sometimes gets hard to control. I think after like the first or second session, I started kind of getting with the program. I was just trying to learn my throttle control and the 410 and, not upset the car or anything. But I mean, we turned a few good laps and we turned a few, decent laps. So I thought it was a solid night for, the 3 sessions we really got there.
A lot of the guys that that I'm close to that have made that transition from the 358 to the 410, like, and laps can be a little different, it's a little bit bigger, but like they really just talk about it drives itself almost, right? It wings down, it helps you turn left. You can use
Yeah.
the throttle to help turn the damn car versus waiting on it to accelerate and trying to get it to turn and do all these things. And it almost feels like you can now drive the race car versus waiting on it and almost fighting it when it's not right. You can do things to manipulate it. Did you learn that, figure that out pretty quickly?
Yeah. So there was like running in a 3 and 4, I could do like, compared to the 358 there, I could do a little bit of different shit, like running harder on the throttle and getting the car to turn. Um, It almost, like you said, kind of felt like the car drove itself a little bit more than how the 358 almost, you're trying to drive the car compared to a 410. It kind of feels like it kind of floats around with you. And, if you get a good setup under there, I suppose it would, really help there. Um, but yeah, I think they're definitely right on saying that.
So if you did the testing Wednesday, were you planning on racing Saturday?
No, no, we talked about it. I didn't want to be that guy that, starts in a heat racing on accident jump somebody else's shit. So I said, maybe a few more practices and then we'll see. I'd
Yeah,
like to hit the
that's fair.
last 410 race, maybe depending how much practice we get.
Yeah. So and obviously looking forward into next year a little bit. Don't know what the future holds. It's still early. We're still only in September. But listen, teams start making their plans for next year. Is it your
Yep.
plan next year to be in that 410?
I think we're gonna have more so a split season. Kind of start the transition into 410s, but still run a good bit of 358. So, I mean, well, I want to almost do like mainly the BAPS shows, Clinton County, some Lincoln shows, and then we're actually this year we're gonna go to the 360 New York Speed Week. The tracks get pretty slick up there, so with 358 we would have been fine. But before that we junked the car, so we couldn't really do it. But I think we'll have probably at least 10 or so races in the 410 next year, if not more.
So, with that being said, actually, let me back up. The 410 this year that Mark was in and Dallas was in, a couple guys. Did you design that car?
No, no, I just did myself, my own car. I let them do whatever they wanted.
So,
But
if you're going to now be in a 410 next year a few times, are you going to design the 410 next year?
that's up to Papa Ron. Um,
Also known as hot stuff.
Hot
yeah,
stuff.
hot
Get it
stuff.
right, kid.
What do
I
you think
think
about this? Go ahead.
I think 358 wise, we're probably just gonna leave the design we had this year. It just works. Like I think it looks good. It's
Does.
pretty clean. So maybe get a different 410 design, but I think we'll stick with the 358 design next year.
I mean, and this will be my last one here. Does he like the naming thing, right? You got your name, that's fine. He put his name in. Does he embarrass you on the daily in public? Like, is this something you just shake your head and laugh at him half the time?
My dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Obviously.
hey, he's not my dad at the racetrack. He's running races. No,
Fair enough.
he
Jimmy,
always tries to embarrass me somewhere. But I mean, otherwise we have a good relationship, so I mean that's cool. But
Hey,
Vegas,
just so you guys
Vegas, he
know,
tried to embarrass me pretty bad. That was that was a rough trip coming home.
yeah.
all
Uh,
right, Jimmy, Chris, what do you
Just
got for these guys?
I want to give a public service announcement. I won't say his number over here, but if anybody wants it, they can PM me. He is 21, single, hardworking, and drives sprint
oh
cars.
shit! Here we go.
So if any ladies are out there,
Help a
There you
fella
go.
out.
Help him out.
Help him out.
yeah.
I want to get back to a quick question from Aunt Bay. Do you think the purse for the 358s will go up after the announcement of going to aluminum heads next year, or do you think us spending more money to be competitive, they'll still shaft us?
His face says it all.
Ant's trying to get me in trouble.
Yeah, that's usually what he tries to do.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you would hope the purses would go up. I mean, that's like Tyler saying about like he's going to focus a little bit more on 358s next year. We're going to do a certain amount of 410s. If I had my way, I'd probably just eliminate the 358 completely. Especially if the purses stay the same. I mean, we can't run for $125 to start anymore. I mean, that's something that just doesn't happen. Especially when you're a guy like me that's paying pit passes to get in. I'm $200 in the hole before we even get to the track. So I would hope that they do consider that. Especially with the amount of money that most people are going to spend. I would hope that they would consider that and definitely raise the purses. And I would hope that it wouldn't be, $25 either. I would hope that they would, get something up about reasonable. I feel like the 358 should always be 300 to start and $2,000 to win, and I believe that that's how it should be. I mean, I bet you if you go back and average the car count at Lincoln, I bet you it's 36. I'd say 34 to 36 cars weekly. Same with the Grove. The Grove's got to be at least high 20s to mid 30s. But I just feel like they need to definitely work on the purse increase, or they're going to lose more teams. I mean, it's just people are starting to realize like it's too costly and it's not worth the headache of even trying to race for the purse that we're racing for now. It sucks every week, especially same thing going back to what I said about like if you draw a bad pill, you're pretty much starting 16th to 24th every week, and you're getting $5 per spot. So starts at 125. You know what I mean? You move up 10 spots, you get $175. It doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, I really like the idea what you kind of talked about with the minimum to start and the winning. I really like the even number, and it should be advertised what the win is for you guys every week. The cars show up. Like here's where we want the car counts to go down. But when you have 36 cars come out every week, what the hell's their initiative to pay you more? Like,
Yeah.
I know that you don't like, there should be a chicken or egg thing here. Oh, we lost all the cars, so let's pay you more. Like, you don't want that. They should be supporting it while it's good and saying, hey, we want to keep this rolling. Every track should be because you guys are supporting, and these guys are getting out of these 358s as fast as they damn can because they're like, what?
Right.
I'll just a couple more bucks and I can go get $1,000 to start, $800 to start at these races at Williams Grove or whatever it is.
Yep.
And they get 19, 21 cars showing up. So, I get the division and I understand it, but damn, this with the car counts and the participation and the good racing, people stay around for it. They don't clear
I
the
agree.
stands when these 358s are on the racetrack.
I agree. I put a picture up maybe about 2 months ago. It was Jada Wolf's trailer and my trailer, and we had a combined 63 people. I think it was 63 people between both trailers. You do the math: $35 per person that came in that we take away from the track if we don't show up. And it's one of those things where I try to use that as kind of like bait. Like, hey, look, like this is what you get when we show up. Like at the end of the day, if those teams don't show up, you're going to lose $2,000 in revenue easily. So why not just add that $2,000 you were going to lose and add it to the purse to where we can actually say, hey, we broke even tonight, or if we win, hey, we can go to Denny's now. We made enough money to take the crew to Denny's or something. Shit, I got to go to the pizza shop after we close, after the races, just to feed my crew because I can't afford to take them out for doubles and shit.
But
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just thinking that it seems so simple. Like 58th division, and you said at Williams Grove. That was Ron. You said earlier about the attendance at Williams Grove has been good all year, and they don't leave after 410s. A bulk of that crowd stays.
Agree.
Lincoln attendance has been questioned on Facebook, at least. I don't know. I haven't been there a lot. Do those things go hand in hand, you think, where this negativity surrounding a certain entity makes fans stay away when the teams and the owners and the drivers are saying, hey, we need more money, and now attendance is down? Do you think that's connected at all, or is it just coincidence?
I don't think it's connected as of yet. I mean, I think for the most part, the 358s continue to support them. I think it's going to become a problem. I think it's going to become a big problem. I think teams are going to stop supporting tracks that don't want to support us. And that's going back to the 410 again. I mean, you get in the 410, there's probably 20 tracks within 3 hours I can drive to on a weekly basis. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, they're almost forcing the 358 guys to move up, which eventually there's going to be no 358 guys. And, it's just one of those things where, I've been in contact with them. I've spoken to them. I gave them my opinions. I met with them, and all I can do is hope that they take it and run with it. If not, you know what I mean. There's not much more we can do as owners or even the drivers and the fans.
Sure. So is the argument most tracks, just any track, is it sponsorship? If they got more sponsorship, they could pay more, or is that just not even a thing? Because a sponsor come in and be like, hey, we're just going to pay X amount, raise the purse, or is that too simple?
They might tell us it's sponsorship, but if you look around, every billboard's full.
Yep.
Every area that they have for advertisements pretty full. So is it sponsorship, or is it just greediness? That's the way I look at it.
It kind of touches on Amp A. Said, what do you think of the series sponsors, but the purse stays the same? Like, I saw that now. So I get it. It's complicated. We don't know enough.
The only thing with that is what drives me absolutely insane, and I put my money where my mouth was when they did it to us, is if we have a sponsored race that somebody else is paying the difference in the purse. So such and such track is paying their normal purse, and somebody else comes in and says, hey, we want to make it $7,000 to win and $3,500 per second. Somebody else comes in and puts that money up. And I just feel like it's so disrespectful that we end up having to pay more by somebody else bringing money. The pit passes go up $5 or $10, and it's like, why? For what reason? General admission tickets go up $5. Like, it's not costing these tracks any more money. It's costing us more money. It just makes no sense.
JC, you're muted. JC, we
So
can't
he
hear you.
should probably mute me because he ain't got me.
I don't know.
You
To get, oh, there you go. We're good. We got you.
All right. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat. When you move up to 410, you don't own 358 anymore. Will you continue to fight for this division like you are now?
1000%, bud.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers
There's
to
not
that.
many people in the 358 division that I don't like. There's a few, but there's not many that I don't like. I get along with everybody. I mean, obviously, everybody knows. I had 500 people message me, "How much did you charge Jaden?" I'm like, I didn't charge him nothing. It was a good deed. Not all good deeds cost, and shit like that. Like, just like for example, when I do an event, like for instance, we were gonna do this. We had this big thing planned out Saturday at Bats. It wasn't just for the 410 drivers. We included the super sportsmen as well. I feel like all dirt track racing, I like to support them all. It's not just, I don't just have 410 drivers come to my restaurant and buy pizza. I have sportsmen, I have four cylinders, I have legends. I have so many different divisions that come in and support me to where I feel like, why wouldn't I support them in the return? You know what I mean? So we don't just focus on the 410s or anything like that. We try to focus on all the divisions.
I will say that doesn't go unnoticed too here either, because this entire interview so far, if you go back and look at our live chat, it's just people coming in, outpouring, saying how much they appreciate you and how good, how much they're all supporting you because you support them, and just how good people you guys are.
Right.
So
We appreciate every one of them. It doesn't go unnoticed.
want to go to Tyler here, just real quick, kind of change a little bit. What are some tracks that maybe when you go 410 racing, or even with the 358, that you would like to get to, and on like it could be in PA, it could be anywhere. I know you said about New York, but what would be something that you would really want to try to get to?
I think Attica's a neat little track.
Hell yeah,
With
love that.
410s, I think that'd be cool to get up there and race. I mean, I know it's sometimes a dust bowl, but definitely Port. Depending how the track state is. Uh, last year and years prior, guys banging off the board, so I think that's pretty badass. But I don't know. I really haven't thought about that. Kind of just pick and run what we want to run. But like Clinton County's a really cool track that I don't know if it's well known in Central PA yet. Like I know it's building a lot bigger name these last few years, but I think Clinton County's probably one of the coolest tracks we get to race.
I agree. We've been on the Clinton County train since we started been going the past 2-3 years, and
Yeah.
It's a cool ass place.
All right. You ready? It's time. You've watched the show maybe once, maybe not. Maybe you don't even know who we are. But you're going to name two drivers. You're going to name somebody you love racing with. Always enjoy it.
Can't wait to hear this.
One of each, my friend.
And this involves honesty.
And this doesn't mean you're taking a shot at a handicap driver. It doesn't need to be starting on the front row. This is somebody who you are. It's just a pain in the ass to race around. They're hard to pass. They race you hard. It doesn't have to be a personal attack, and that's what I tell a lot of drivers, because I think a lot of guys think that it is. It doesn't have to be. Now, if you don't like someone, we're not going to stop you from saying it. Just saying.
You're not even going to help.
So that second spot, does that include people I kind of struggle to get by, or like kind of?
That's a perfect interpretation of it.
All right,
100%.
There you go.
So the first one, I got to go with the Red Rocket, Logan Rumsey. Me and him always race fun and clean, so I'll go with Logan on that one. And the second one, I almost seem like a dickhead here. I'm trying to think about this.
I'm ready for the follow-up that one of us is putting out here after this.
Oh man. I'd have to go with probably Frankie, her. Not that he races me dirty, but when I get around him, it's either he's just so damn good in the middle at Lincoln that if I get underneath him, it might take me like 5 to 10 damn laps to finally get around him. And I mean, I hate racing with him in a good way, just because he kind of is like a lingering pest. Like if I try to get by him, he ain't gonna let you by easy. Like you're gonna have to earn that spot. So yeah, I'll go with that.
And that's the spirit of the question. When I thought of it, is that was the spirit of it. Is that person who makes our car wide? They're hard to pass. They're not going to make it easy on you, even if you're
Yeah.
better. Like, it's not always like I don't like this guy. We've had that, and that's okay. I'm fine with if that's where you want to go. But the spirit of it was just that. Exactly. Watching Frankie race, that makes total sense. He doesn't look like he's easy to race, easy to pass, I should say, for sure.
No, he's always ran me pretty clean. So like no complaints about that. But yeah, it's just like one night, I'll go get around him, and he's that guy that he can hold his spot for as long as he wants. So actually, the one race at the Grove, we were laced side by side for about 17 out of the 20 laps in that race. The whole damn time, I was like, "Oh man, this is never gonna end." And then like lap 17, he finally got away. So, yeah, in a respectful way, Frankie.
Chris, yours?
I want to know who Ron loves and hates watching Tyler race around. As a car owner and a dad.
Even better question.
Yeah. Because I'm always outspoken. Just remember that.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings. I don't race.
So I agree. I think Logan and Tyler have the utmost respect. They're both young. They both drive each other hard, but they're always clean. Especially like the race at Baps was. I mean, they were going after each other hardcore. And it was pretty cool to witness. And actually, Logan's father Tom, talked to me afterwards. He's like, "Was that not badass?" He was all excited because of how clean he raced. So I think it's pretty cool. I don't even know the kid's name, but I know he drives the number 14. I just feel like, Baps has practice for a reason. And I feel like some of these people, the track tries to tell us, oh, you guys should talk to him. Well, it's not our responsibility to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to change their opinion. But I just feel like some of these guys in the 358 division, and there's a group chat. I mean, it's everybody's outspoken about it. Just a lot of people won't go to the source like me. But I feel like just some of these kids like really need to maybe either step back into quarter midgets for another year, or go to practice a couple sessions at Baps. Or I have a better suggestion. If you want to go race weekly, that's great. But do yourself a favor and start in the back. You know what I mean? So we're not junking people's cars, because that's the biggest thing. Like when you junk somebody's car, it makes them not a fan. So yeah, I'd have to say that.
Wow, how that works.
Right. Did you say back to quarter midgets? I mean, damn, that's harsh.
Get all the way back. Start all the way to fuck over.
Well, I mean, if that's where you came from and you went straight to a 358, I mean, I guess that's where you should probably go back.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference there. Tyler didn't race a damn thing until he got in a race car, but he was never that.
But he went to practice every week for a year.
Right.
100%.
I was gonna ask this question before, because you guys were talking about Baps practice, and something I've been thinking about a little bit lately is, Baps does a great thing there where they do the open practices throughout the year. Midweek, sure. Do you think it could be more of a benefit to maybe if some of these other tracks did that? Maybe not as frequently as Baps. Maybe if they did 3 or 4 open practices a year, some of these guys could get a little more comfortable going into those tracks. Like, do you think that would be beneficial?
Absolutely, 100%. It's not only beneficial for the driver; it's beneficial for the track. The track,
yes.
I mean, Baps is so smart with, you could tell Scott's a great business guy, and Colton himself, because them guys are making so much more revenue by having Baps. Because what do you have? You have an ambulance and 4 officials. Okay. They're averaging, I mean, there's sometimes they get 60, 70, 80 cars there for practice. So it's a source of income for them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why the other tracks don't do it. Even if you do it once a month or something, it's still more revenue coming into your track, to your business. And I'm not sure why they don't do it, but BAP's got a great thing going. Hands down, my favorite track. People argue with me, but I love BAP's to death. I love the race in there. And to me, it's the best track we have in this area that we that we race a good bit at.
Yeah, Chris, you hear that? Baps.
I'm
Yeah, Chris.
not anti-Baps. Baps is
You're
second.
anti-racetrack. You don't even go.
Yeah,
I
What's your
just saw
first,
you at a
Chris?
fucking
you're
racetrack.
you're barely pro Grove anymore.
You're cheering for rain for the National Open, Jimmy. Let's expose.
I was not
that.
cheering for rain. I was not cheering for
Anyway,
rain.
back
No,
to my
no, no,
real
no.
question. So my
It's
regular
just
question
gonna
for
rain.
Tyler. It's gonna rain when I. Tyler, you one race, meaning the most you to win. What is it? What would it be?
Like just in 358 race or what?
Any sprint car
Anything.
race that you could win or would want to win more than anything.
Probably the Eldor Million because that's a lot of money. But if we're talking about like monumental value, I think it'd have to be the National Open. Just being from PA and like, growing up and going to that race every
Just
single
make
year.
Chris so happy.
Yeah, Tyler gets it. Fuck you, Jimmy.
But if we're talking 358, I think the Rack Daddy Rumble because they got. I don't think many tracks do good in this, but the unique trophies I think so badass. Like they got a belt for that
Yeah.
race. Guys, I in my opinion, I'd rather have something like a belt than just like a normal ass trophy, like something cool, like the Weichert, for example, is super cool trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that they're doing that. It's silly, but it's not. Like it's very cool. I dig it. It was very neat to see.
Something different. Stands out.
Yep.
Before we close out here, Santos asked twice and I forgot to ask it. Merch. Do they message you, Ron, directly? Can they get it at the track? How can they get their hands on it?
So they can message Tyler or me. We don't really take it to the track. We're not one of them big Danny Dietrich stars yet. So we don't have a t-shirt trailer and stuff. But they can message either Tyler or myself, and we'll get it there. And hey, just so everybody knows, I am putting a race together next year, Path Valley. I'm promoting the whole thing. It's going to be just me promoting a race, seeing how I do, having several divisions. So working on dates and stuff like that that suit every track, because obviously that's the biggest thing you have to do is you have to find a date that works for every track, or otherwise they're going to run against you or you're going to run against them. But we're working on some stuff for next year. So make sure they stay tuned.
That sounds like a date we should be going to join that party.
I'm available for bookings, Ron, just so you know. I'm open.
There is going to be a party. They thought Freddie Raymer did a party. They haven't seen nothing yet.
And we're in for that. Aunt Bay does want to know what you're watching. I'm going to guess probably football.
Yeah, I'm watching a 34-3 game, but I mean, I hit most of my parlay the first half. So
yeah, so Aunt Bay, we're not all Eagles fans around here.
Go Birds.
Yeah. Did Aunt Bay? Did he heart anything yet today?
What does that even mean?
Yeah, he usually loves talking dirty to me.
Oh, it's probably gonna get weird now.
Yeah, he didn't say nothing dirty.
You just told me you're available.
Comments,
oh man. Yeah. Oh boy.
I think it's amazing how many of my family members or people that know me know that I'm on an interview right now on my phone, and yet there's about 36 messages.
You're a popular guy.
Shit, like they don't like as they're watching the podcast, as they're watching the live feed, they're messaging me. Yeah, I think that's pretty funny.
Aunt Bay is an Cowboys fan. Aunt, you go down a couple points. Sorry.
I think he goes up just because he pissed Jimmy off.
Yeah.
Let's go, Aunt Bay. You're my hero. I am.
All right, we're going to let you guys get out of here.
Hey, real quick, thank you guys for everything you guys do. It's awesome. I enjoy watching when I can. You guys do a great job. I love the fact that you don't give a fuck. You say what you want. You do what you want. That's how shows should be. Just ask Danny Dietrich.
Hell yeah.
And also shout out to all of our sponsors who make everything happen. Without them, obviously, we wouldn't be where we are. But yeah, you guys kill it every week. Continue to work, and maybe we can start doing some live shows at tracks. I think that'd be badass.
Yes, we're working on that. We're going to be doing something for the chili cook-off at National Open. So
that's badass. I got some cool. So if you guys ever need it, let me know.
Awesome.
We'll make it happen.
Well, Thanks, guys. Tyler, good luck
All
with
right.
everything.
Thanks,
Look
man.
forward to your
Thanks
career,
for
and thank you again,
having
Ron.
me.
Wait,
All right.
Tyler.
Wait.
Tyler,
What?
you got to practice. You're gonna be Victory Lane soon. Let me give me the sponsor shout outs. You got to thank.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, Double Deuces RV Roofing, Renegade Race Fuels, Raise Energy, Just Grind It, CNC Auto Repair and Towing, Willie's Paving, JA Pest Control, and yeah, sorry if I forgot anybody. Mama's Pizza. I know that because I have a car here, so it made it a little bit
There you
easier.
go.
Yeah, I was gonna
I was
say,
just going to ask you, were you looking at like
hey,
a list, or
JC,
were you looking at your car? Because you'd be doing that in Victory
he
Lane.
had he had checkmate on you there.
Hey, real quick question for Tyler. Tyler, did you say
What?
thanks to mom and dad? You were talking about Ange, right? You weren't talking about like
No,
your
yeah,
mom.
I was talking about Ange. No,
Okay.
I don't
All
know
right.
who else you consider mom, but all right.
Just making sure.
Hey, did you get those pictures hung up in the shop yet?
Ange hung them up. Yeah. She never gave me my money back though. So next time we're gonna invoice her.
Hey, thanks for coming on,
Jeremy.
guys. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you this weekend.
All right.
Hopefully.
See you guys. Thank you.
All
Keep up
right,
the good
see ya.
work.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
That was fun. We knew that one was going to be good when we started talking about doing it. We know Ron does so much, and Tyler's a good kid. He's very well spoken. He has a good head on his shoulders, and you could see that by having, he has a good dad. He has a good upbringing here, and is thinking about things the right way. So really appreciate them coming and joining us. Let's get into the recap from the week. And we'll start here. Justin Whittle on Friday night at Williams Grove gets the win in a hard-fought battle with TJ Stutz. Kyle Reinhardt also on the podium. Freddie Raymer, Danny Dietrich, Troy Wagaman, Dylan Norris, Lucas Wolf, Cody Hartlob, and Devin Borden round out the top 10. Good field for this one. Shout out Kyle Spence in 17th, making a 410 appearance. See you, Ampe. Yeah, this one was fun to watch. I know you guys were there, so I'll let you guys take it away.
Chris, go ahead.
I thought watching that. I thought for sure we were going to watch TJ Stutz win again. Good for Justin Whittle. He was pumped up. I think it's second win of the year. Good battle. I mean, even like Troy Wagaman there running. He had the Kevin Gobrek 92 wing. He looked really fast all night. I thought it was going to be interesting, but it just never happened. Like that battle between Stutz and Whittle was going to get good, and they had that red flag for Ferry, I think, flipping right in front of them. If that would have played out, that would have been a good battle back and forth, I think, for a few laps. Just so good. The track was fast again, but it was racy. And was Danny Dietrich the hard charger? I think I saw.
Yeah, he was.
Just good racing, and TJ Stutz stays consistent, and Justin Whittle. You love seeing Justin win based on everything he's been through the last 12 months. Good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. This was a good one. Wasn't sure if it was going to be. TJ kind of had it in control, but man, Justin was just stalking him and just stalked him and stalked him, and finally threw the slider. And when he threw that slider, I'm telling you guys, in 3 and 4, it was really close. Like I clenched up, was like, oh no, and he cleared it, and it worked out for him. And then TJ stalked him, and then as soon as TJ pulled the trigger and shot, JT Ferry, unfortunately, whatever happened with him, backed into the wall and flipped over and caused red. And after that, Justin was kind of gone after that red flag there. But very cool. He did his job. He was there, and he took a shot. So great run for Kyle Reinhardt. He's been a little hasn't ran as many races after a speed week there. Back at it, P3 there. Freddie doing it again. Troy right there. Freddie and Troy can't get away from each other. Smashed Danny in the middle with a hard charger there. That was a fun battle watching him come up through there. And Cody Hartlob with the top 10. They've been on a little bit of a down streak lately, and they feel like they got back to some basics, and good run for Cody coming through. And Devin passed some cars. He got going, I think, late. He was kind of there, and I do have to give a shout out to the Stamen team. They allowed me to stand up on the trailer for the feature, and I took photos from the 23 hauler for the feature there. So shout out that team. They're great team, great people to be around. From a distance, and then got to talk to John super quick there, and met another crew member and the social media girl there. So got to meet them, stand on the hauler, and it was a fun race to watch. And I'll tell you, one of the best races on the racetrack was watching Cody Hartlaub and Lance Deweese battle. They battled probably half that race side by side, or like almost side by side the whole race. So that was fun to watch, and it was cool to see Kyle Spence out there in the 410. Had great hot laps. He was top 5 in hot laps. Ricky Peterson,
hero,
that
baby.
car continues to show some speed, some promise. So it was a good night. It was a good night. Good car count, good racing.
Yeah, it was cool to see Mike Wagner here, the legend himself. He's been having a hell of, obviously we know what he did at Port, but 11th place here when he doesn't really run this place that often. I'm assuming he's running because, one, there's no other races since Port's done, but I'm sure he's probably going to try to run the National Open, I'm assuming. But he looked really strong here. 11th place finish. And I was kind of bummed with the red flag. Obviously, don't want to see anybody junk a car, but also keeping those guys in lap traffic because they were going to be. I don't think that slider on TJ would have been the last one. They would have been going back and forth, I think, a little bit. Lap traffic was pretty thick, so yeah, it was cool. I watched on Dirt Vision, and I got to give Dirt Vision some props here outside of the race here. Dave Hare doing the pit reporting. I don't know if they've done it any other weeks, but this is the first week I really noticed it, where he's going through during that break, going through interviewing drivers and stuff like that. Love it. That is great. That's how, we could talk about streaming kills attendance, but attendance doesn't kill streaming, and streaming only helps when that type of stuff, because the people that aren't there, they're learning the drivers. That's the type of stuff to build. You know what I mean? We already have a great scene here. Don't get me wrong, but that is the type of stuff that I love to see. Just something simple like that. I know technology and everything, and also Dave Hare's just great.
Yeah,
I just love listening to Dave Hare's
Anytime
voice.
Dave Hare is talking, I am listening.
So, but I did want to give a shout out to that because that was one of my favorite parts of the broadcast and one of my favorite things I've seen all year out of that. Any other thoughts from the 410 race?
No, sir.
Let's get into points as we wind down the season here. One more race in the Hoosier Diamond Series will be this Friday. Danny Dietrich with a 240-point lead over Troy, Freddie, Lucas, and TJ. And then Freddie with 3 races left with a 270-point lead on Troy, TJ, Lucas, and Danny. So pretty much those are your top 5 guys. I would say Danny probably has that locked up as long as he makes a start. I think it's hard to overcome 200. I don't think you could overcome 240 points in
how the Diamond Series points are.
But with 3 races here left, and with it being 2 of them being outlaw shows, it could get pretty interesting between Troy and Freddie there. And then go ahead.
Freddie's going to get a provisional if he needs it.
Right, but still, you never know. 358 feature real quick. Cole Young gets the win over Dylan Norris, Preston Latimus, Chris Frank, and Logan Rumsey, the top 5. Dylan Norris with a 2nd and a 7th, I believe it was. I have to go back and look at the 410 results, but good night for him, running double. And that tie between Doug Hamaker and Derek Bach is broke, but only 20 points going into the final race, which is Friday. It's their championship night, so that should be very interesting to see. Those are the top 2 with points over Preston Latimus, Logan Rumsey, and Chris Frank moves up into the 5th spot.
Chris Frank looked fast all night, and he had a shot early in that race getting around Cole Young, or damn near getting around Cole Young, and I think a caution came out and kind of reset it. But shout out to Chris Frank for that drive.
Yeah, and Preston Latimus, that kid was this
flying
kid,
too.
Man. He's I'm telling you right now, we gotta get him on the show, but I gave him some props here this last. I don't know what switch went off here in about middle of the season, but this kid, man, is ripping in that 358. He runs that thing for all it's worth, and he drove by Dylan Norris in his feature, in the middle of that feature, and was running Cole down, and then the yellow came out. I thought the yellow was going to help him, but it did not help him. I think the tire just kind of tire went away, and Dylan drove back around him there, but man, Preston was absolutely ripping that race car. So, and shout out Logan Rumsey, P5 after a B main run. So he had to run to B and got to 5th. He was doing what Preston was doing, was absolutely giving that thing all it was worth in 1 and 2 on the cushion. It was pretty cool to see 358s out there ripping.
believe he was the hard charger in this feature.
Yes,
if
he
I saw
was.
right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I just thought of something though. Going back to the 410 points, go back to Troy not be able to start that feature back there,
Speed week.
and
Yep.
that's I think
That's
it's what
kind of the
250. It's 250 what to win, 250 points to win, something like
so it
that.
would be a lot closer right now if
It
he
would
was able
be
to.
a hell of a lot. He was fast as hell that night too, so that sucks. That
Yeah.
stinks.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is, though.
It's racing.
Yeah, second place is nothing to be
Oh no, it's still a
upset
hell of a year
about
for that
either. You
team.
know what I mean? Still a hell of a year. So, and it's not over. You know, a lot can
No,
happen here
definitely
in
not
the
over.
next
It's
3
just
weeks.
hell of a year. It's just think about that one tire blowing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
damn.
Anything else from Williams Grove, fellas, before we move into High Limit and the Four Crown Nationals at Eldora? Before we get into the High Limit side, I just want to give a shout out. Former T2T guest, Dason Pursley, man. 3 wins over the weekend. 2 on Saturday night in the midget and the sprint car division for USAC. And he started on the pole of the Silver Crown race, but man, that track got, I don't know. There was tires blowing left and right. There's nothing left with them. He fell back. I think he still got a top 5 finish, I believe. But looked good all night. I thought he was going to get all 3. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. He also won the midget race on Friday night.
I do have one question though.
Yeah.
So you give me shit for not going to races, and you were invited to go to Eldora.
I had to work.
You don't even.
I
work
went.
on
I went to.
Saturdays, fella.
I had. If I didn't do what I did the weekend before, go to Watkins Glen and then go to the Eagles game on Monday night, I probably would have went. If they wouldn't ask me, if he wouldn't have asked me last minute and would have told me this like 3 weeks ago, I would have scheduled around it.
Wow. You're gonna blame it on Brett. Unbelievable.
Don't ask me on Tuesday, man.
When he asked you on Sunday, you were too busy.
Sunday, yeah, well, exactly.
Busy looking
Sunday.
around Watkins Glen, whatever.
Yeah, I had to see what was going on with work because I missed 2 days of work. I couldn't miss a third. So.
Yeah, go Birds.
Go Birds, baby. But yeah, I am a little disappointed. I wanted to go to this. They had a good run. Carmen, I think, finished 7th or 8th. Could have probably got more. As we were talking to Brett, just it got rubber down. It wasn't very wide. It had to back off of some other cars. He was probably a little bit faster. But yeah, so Friday night, real quick here, Justin Peck finally gets a win. We've been talking. His name's been coming up a lot lately on like disappointing drivers kind of lists, or you know, he's had a lot of really good finishes this year. Has run very consistent, you know, quietly top 10, close to a bunch of top 5s. Just hasn't been able to knock down that win. Finally gets done here in a 40-some car field here with High Limit over Rico Abreu, Brad Sweet, Aaron Reitzel, Spencer Baston, Jake Allen. They keep pushing the Jake Allen thing. Anthony Macri, who looked really, really good out there as always. Emerson Axum, Tyler Courtney, and Corey Day. Brett Marks in 11th. And Chase Dietz was on Saturday. I'll get to that soon. But I'm happy for Peck, man. I'm happy for that team. You know, and to win, you know, at Eldora is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, huge for Peck, given the year that they've had is probably not what they expected. We talked about it. I know Dirt Tracker, Justin Fielder talked about it. It's not what they hoped. I mean, it's a solid, consistent year, just not the wins that they had in years past. And it's kind of surprising, given some of the tracks that they've been to and historically have ran well at. So, but it's the win. Winning solves everything.
Yes. And then we'll go to Saturday here. Rico Abreu wins over Jake Allen, Spencer Baston, Anthony Macri, Justin Peck with another top 5, Brett Marks, Brad Sweet, James McFadden, Corey Eliason, and Zeb Wise with a top 10. Chase Dietz, who also ran Silver Crown, finishes 19th in this feature on Saturday night. Shout out to Chase. Yeah, so I mean, Rico's making this charge here, and then we're going to get into the points here real quick. But he has now jumped Tyler Courtney in the points here. It's been the Brad Sweet, Tyler Courtney show. And then Brad Sweet's obviously been pulling away from Tyler Courtney. And then this backslide by Tyler Courtney, I don't even know if it's necessarily a backslide, but he hasn't been running as strong. You know, he hasn't really been on the podium as often as he was in the earlier this year. But Rico's been coming on so strong here the past month and a half, especially once that West Coast swing started after Knoxville. is when he really started coming on. And now he has jumped Tyler in the points. And then that ever so important fifth spot for these charters is getting dicier and dicier. Brett's still pretty solidly in fourth, but about 60 points ahead of Corey Day in fifth, who made his truck debut, and ARCA on Thursday night, ran pretty well in both of them. So who knows what happens here? Does he miss a race because I know he's running trucks here for the rest of the year? Pretty much. So it would be interesting to see if he misses any races, because now Justin Peck's less than 20 points behind him, and James McFadden's less than 20 points behind him. So it's getting real tight there.
So 6 races left, right, in the high limit schedule.
Yeah.
I think the most telling stat here, we talked about Brad Sweet. Everyone forgets Brad Sweet does Brad Sweet things. He hadn't won since May, I think it was, right? Talking about hadn't won. Wins at Port Royal that night. 32 top 5 is a crazy consistent stat. 11 more in second place. That's how you build points leads and win championships.
There was talk about early near, it's like, oh man, Brad Sweet goes to the high limit tour and he falls off. And then you go and look at the stats and you're like,
yeah, he fell off only winning 7 races. Finishing second. And those top 5s, they broke it down, are probably 60% of those are top 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, you're not going to be the guy doing that.
And these are high limit stats only. That doesn't count the other races that he's ran.
And the only thing I have, and we couldn't find it, was the charter thing is that it's off owner points, not driver. I think. I don't know. That would make sense.
These are the only points that they have on their site.
So I would think.
I'm assuming it's off of these points. I'm assuming it's just out. I'm assuming it's just off of these points.
That'd be something. Because there's a reason why the Roth car, they had to run all the races, but that owner points wise, they might already be up there. I don't know. Somebody else might.
I don't think they have owners points. I don't think that's how it works. And if not, they're just not showing it. I don't know. Right. Maybe there is. You know what? Now that you're thinking of it,
there has
saying it. Let me look here. You guys go ahead and talk here for a second.
Well, what I'll say is I find interesting. We were talking about, we've been showing these high limit stats, and I've been watching his points, and Brent's been in fourth for a while, like the longest time. But at one point, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, McFadden was like 4 points behind Brent for that spot. Like, that's how close it was. Now that spot has changed hands. It had McFadden, now it has Corey Day, and Peck's climbing up into that area with his win. So like that 5th spot has been ultra competitive. And in fact, Brent was in danger of slipping to that 5th spot just a couple weeks ago.
So it is, and right now it is Brent Marks in that 5th spot.
Right. That's what I thought.
You're right. So it's James McFadden in that 4th spot, then Brent, then Corey Day, and then Justin Peck. So, but it's only a 14-point gap between him and James McFadden.
Right.
So
decent gap back with only 6 races left, and that West Coast swing definitely was not Brent Marks' friend, which was not surprising considering he hasn't been there in 7 years, and didn't. I don't know, but he's through it now. So, yeah. So that's big for Roth 83, because you figure rumor mill has James McFadden not coming back. This is bigger than James McFadden at this point, right? So good for them.
Well, I mean, think about the rumor mill: 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All could
either
not be back or could
not be back.
And we already know 10th isn't going to be there. At least not with that driver.
So there's a lot that's still going to happen, whether they make it or not. And you know, these teams, I'm sure, sought out and we're going for it, but things change. So I guess we'll just all have to wait and see.
If the 83 gets this charter and they don't have James McFadden, and they go all in on Outlaws, they don't run a second car, or they do run a second car, maybe it's on board, who, because that's some of the rumors that are happening. Do they sell their charter right away to maybe a team that wants it? It would be interesting. I don't know what the market would be either, but it'd just be interesting what happens if they can't run and they get the charter.
Yeah, I guess we're all going to find out. I can tell you that I like sprint cars, but I don't study it that damn close to know what that scenario would look like. But I think everyone needs to. I guess I got to look it up or start asking that question, because we're there. 6 races left. Like, we're there to start having those questions answered.
Right. So yeah, there's. I thought it was the same points, but Chris is absolutely right. It's the owner's points, and they just don't have it listed. They have it listed in the results, but don't have it listed in their point standings tab. Okay, World of Outlaws. They were at Thunderbolt this past weekend on Friday night. David Gravel gets the win. Finally gets a win. It's been kind of a dry spell for him a little bit over Logan Schuart, Buddy Kofoid, Sheldon Hansfield plus 14 in fourth, and DJ Neto rounding out the top 5. Cool to see Gio and Dominic running 8th and 9th in the top 10. I didn't watch any of these, so I'm just kind of going over results here just to get to the points, to be honest. So if you guys have anything, you let me know. Carson Messina wins the big $83,000. This was the Roth Classic, so $83,000 here over Buddy Kofoid with another second place. Sheldon Hansfield with a, right? Nope, sorry. Buddy second place, Sheldon third, David Gravel with the fourth, Shane Golovic fifth, Donnie Schatz plus 12 in seventh, and Tim Kading was the hard charger, 23rd to 10th in this one. Big payday for Carson Macedo and helps him out in the points as well. He's only 90 back at David Gravel. I think it was a little bit tighter last week. I want to say it was like 87 or something like that. I have to go back and look. But that win was big for David Gravel, not just in like the actual points, but to get that momentum back, because he's been running backs out of the top 10, during most of his California run and even before that. So it's allowed this gap to close up and a good, some decent runs for Donnie. Not great, but he's starting to slip back into the clutches of Buddy and Gio, who are neck and neck there in fourth and fifth. Sharon Speedway. This one, so Babs got rained out. I guess this is kind of twofold, because we should probably talk a little bit about Babs. So Justin Whittle got that win on Friday night, which locked him into the Babs Kevin Gobrecht Memorial. And then early Saturday morning, Babs cancels. Probably a good call. At the time, it was kind of questionable because it didn't look that bad, but it did. I mean, I don't know what it did down there. I know here it rained really late, but I'm also more northeast, so I'm not sure. So I'm not sure what it did there, but it got pushed to October
26th.
26th. So I'm hoping that they could even get it in then. I know they are. You start getting into this time of year, it starts to get really dicey. So when you have an 80-degree day with maybe 40% chance of rain, it's just kind of odd that you don't take that chance, but they were probably right in the end.
No, I'm standing on it. I thought they were wrong then, and as the night and night went on, I
don't know what it did down there, so that's why I'm asking you guys.
I live 20 minutes south, and he's 20 minutes north, and they would have raced. They would have got the show in. I don't know.
I was at my daughter's cheerleading game. It did rain there long enough to not make the ground wet. It did get dark. There's a gap, I guess, from where I was to where the track is. That would be in between my house and where I was and the track. And it was dark, and you could hear thunder. But it never rained here at my house, which was beyond the darkness.
It rained at the racetrack, but it was not nearly enough to wash it out.
And it was
It
short.
didn't look like it was going to be a lot.
And it was short. In fact, the midget football players kept playing through the thunder. The cheerleaders got sent home for whatever reason, but that's fine.
Great.
Yeah, I thought so. Kid also agreed, but I don't know. I mean, I don't run the racetrack, but it was definitely odd.
Yeah, I think you could have bumped up an hour and beat whatever was forecasted too.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it. I don't like it. I hate it. This more than like the business side of and trying to think. I just as a fan, I really wanted this show to go off, and I didn't think it was nearly ominous enough for that early of a cancel. And the fact that all the fan events for the rain, they would have still already been there. They weren't going to stay away because of the threat of rain 3 hours after the fan event. I just didn't understand it. I guess I don't have to. I'm not there. I don't make decisions, but I hated every part of it. And it didn't rain hard overnight until 1, 2, 3 a.m. or something. So I don't know. I hated it. Sucked. But
I think
got a Saturday night.
I think they had the opportunity to have probably the opportunity to have about 40 cars there.
The perk of canceling early was Danny Dietrich went to Sharon.
Yeah, but
Sure.
okay, sure, great. So, like October 26th, like, is there a guarantee that people are going to show up?
Nope.
The later you get after October 1st, the less people are interested in sprint car racing, especially anything other than the National Open.
Especially
I'm
the National
struggling a
Open is
little bit.
$50.
And you might have gotten the Selinsgrove date with people show up for sure. It's a World of Outlaws. Will you get the same potential turnout in that late? And I get it. They try.
You gotta hope for really good weather.
If you're going to cancel and you're going to make a date, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But man, I just didn't see. I didn't. That's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I'm not. We're all weathermen though. We're all playing the guessing game. They're in control. We're not. I just didn't like it. I thought it could have gone off. So it is what it is.
I think I'm with you. I think it would have been better to take the chance of the little bit of rain that looked like it was coming, to take the chance and try to get it in, and then if not, maybe you like say you get halfway through you do have another 410 race, and maybe you put it together or something like that. I get it though. I understand they have their own thing but it to me, it was like 11 o'clock for me, and I'm like, it was like 10:30 whenever they canceled. And right about then, I'm like, I should start getting ready to get going because I was going to go early for the Fan Fest, and it's like a 2 hour some drive for me. And then it's like, oh, it canceled. I'm like, it's sunny, it's 80 some degrees, and it didn't look that bad. But I understand. But that also ended the Super Sportsman season there.
Series ended with 7 races because they
Yeah.
did not reschedule that, even though that 26 is a racing for outreach race with the wingless sportsman. So maybe a missed opportunity there, but probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
not October 26th.
Yeah,
right.
It's
You're
just to me, I would rather take my shot on an 80-degree day with maybe 50-50 chance of showers than try to do it into the end of October, because you already know, like that final showdown too in November, you get guys to come out, but it's always cold, it's damp, and that's one of the charms of that event because it's the last one of the year. It's right before Thanksgiving. You have family and stuff around. Everybody's home from on the road. That's the cool part about that event. But at the same time, it's shitty for weather, and end of October is not going to be any better.
That show's one of my favorite shows of the whole year.
Same.
Is that final showdown, but like I'm a diehard, so I'm going.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's the charm, like the icebreaker at Lincoln. It's the charm of it. It could be 45 and windy, and I'm going to show up. Like we wouldn't want to be out there at any other day of the year doing that, but we're diehards, so we do it. But I don't know if I love this. It's a lot of money and a lot of pressure, not pressure, but there's a lot of things on the line to schedule that late October. Not that they had other choices when to schedule it, but
right.
You have to take the chance here.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
But anyway.
I still think it's rigged because Justin Whittle had a wedding that day to attend and couldn't race, so they said, "Oh, we'll push it back to October for you."
Yeah, we'll help you out. Hope you have time to the wedding, Justin. Thanks a lot.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, so like you said, Chris, it did open the opportunity for like Danny Dietrich and it looked like a couple others from Central PA to make the trip out to Sharon Speedway, when a pretty good race between Dave Blaney and Danny Dietrich, and Cale Thomas also on the podium here. And as Dave gets out of the car, all teary-eyed, and said, "That's my last one. I'm done." Hell of a way to walk it off, and in a really good battle with Danny Dietrich. Danny had a real good shot there at the end. I'm not shocked that he retired. I'm just kind of shocked at the timing and just doing it that way. But you can't ask for any better. Your home track, the Lou Blaney Memorial, walk it off, and I mean, you can't. It's like an NFL player retiring right after they win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of level. So hell of a career.
It was Lynn Paxton, right, that retired after winning the National Open. That what happened, right? Fred Raymer, what he said he wanted to do like that, and ironic, the week that Lynn passes, Dave Blaney kind of goes out and wins equivalent to their National Open. That Lou Blaney Memorial is a big deal. 12,000 to win. It's no joke out there. You had everyone that wasn't at Eldora in Ohio there. So cool stuff. Been around. You can race for a long time. I think 95 wins. World of Outlaw wins. championships. Crazy.
Yeah, you just have to thank Danny for not, ruining the moment. Like,
Hey, I beat Tyler. I beat Tyler Koenig to this. Ha, get wrecked, Tyler.
Hey, you're right, Lynn Paxton. So, Ryan Smith was 21st. He made the trip out. Ricky Peterson at 98 made the trip out. Jordan Gibler also made the trip out. I'm not sure. I don't see anybody else in the rundown, but there was a lot of cars there, so good turnout for them. I would like to get to Sharon one day. I was thinking about it. Dakota was. I'm like, man, Baps canceled. I'm like, he's like, well, just get on 80 West and go to Sharon. And I looked at it.
Thought long enough. You thought longer than I would have about doing that.
I thought long enough, and then I'm like, I thought too long now. Now it's gonna take too long to get there. I'm not gonna go. But
yeah, same. He texted me right away and said, "Hey, heading west," and I'm like, "Why?" I didn't even know Baps canceled yet. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Man, that would have been cool to do. If I
would have known this.
If I could have dropped everything, I would have. I want to go out there and watch a race. So, someday.
It's cool that Tyler brings up the Vibram 10, Dave Blaney. That was my first shirt as a kid because he used to, when they came through town, they would stay at the hotel my mom worked at, and they would do all the card meetings in the parking lot. So
that's cool.
A bunch of old pictures and I photo album from that car. So that's good stuff.
That wraps up the weekend in racing then. Taking a look ahead here at this weekend, hopefully weather cooperates. Tune up for the National Open 410s and then the 358 Sprint Car Championship night, final 358 race of the year. Should be a good one. $20 to get in, 7:30 racing. Time trials, it'll be a World of Outlaw format. Their normal tune-up deal. Oh, I forgot. Bridgeport. Anfe's right. Bridgeport had URC. Ryan Taylor with the win. And then that ended up being the final URC race of the year. And was it? Ann could tell me who it was that won the championship. Not Weller.
Yeah, Weller.
Was it Weller? He wins the championship. So congratulations to him. Congratulations, Ryan Taylor. Nobody cares. We won 11-3 with 358 against the 360s. We care, man. Thanks for that.
Oh.
Congratulations there, buddy. And Bridgeport, man, I'm getting more and more hype after talking to Danny last week. I just getting towards the end of the year here. I can't wait to get to Bridgeport for a 410 race. Well, Sterner Memorial also at Lincoln. 410s with time trials, $10,000 to win, and 358s with some bumped up purse money. We saw Ashley Capetta here in the chat earlier when we were talking to Ron. What did she say? Was
225 to start, I believe, is what she said.
Yeah. There is a fan zone, 3 to 4 p.m., 3 to 4:30. So get there early. Pits for the race teams are at 1:30, so hopefully the weather's nice. Get out there. Everything starts at time trials start at 6, starting to bump things up a little bit time-wise since we're getting later in the year here. But yeah, this is we've had Ashley on before to talk about this race, the one that was rescheduled earlier this year. This is a big deal. This is one of Lincoln's bigger races.
Her and her group work so hard at it, so I hope they get it in this time. I won't be there. I have to work.
Womp womp. It will be on Flow if you cannot make it, which is cool.
Yeah, that works out.
Hey, all I can hope there, 225 to start. They're gonna be fighting for those B main spots that they don't have a time limit or a timeout in the B main this time. Like that would suck. So let's hope not. Hopefully they all keep their shit together, and they won't have to have that. So good luck, 358 teams.
And then nationally, you got the World of Outlaws there in Ohio. They are at Wayne County and Sharon. And then High Limit goes to Kentucky, Florence Speedway. And then they have, I think they run Tuesday somewhere for a midweek race. And then they're back in Ohio, I think, next weekend. I have to look. I think that's what I saw when I was looking at it. I think they go to Attica. Or no, not Attica. I don't know. We'll talk about that next Monday. But yeah, that's where those guys are. And then we want to give a quick shout out here. We were talking about it a little bit before. Things are really starting to come together for the so National Open Chili Cook-Off. Big deal every year. $1,000 to win. Also, money goes to the B main winner or the first non-qualifier. I'm sorry. They have a lot of raises a lot of money for that, and it's just a overall good time. If you like chili, this is the spot. Go and taste some chili out. Saturday morning, I think it opens at 10 and it goes to about 1. We will be doing a live show there. So if you can't make it there early, you can catch us live on our normal streams. If not, come and check us out live. We would like to have a little bit of an audience. That would be pretty damn cool. As we interview some drivers, we're setting up some interviews. We'll let you guys know that once we start locking some of those in. But there's a couple driver judges and stuff like that. So we plan to do about a 2-hour show or so. So we're gonna talk about Friday night. We're gonna talk about previewing Saturday night. We're gonna talk with the drivers. We're gonna talk about some chili, and maybe we'll talk to some of you fans too, and just we'll see where it goes. Kind of how our show goes. Just kind of just go with the flow and how conversation kind of just look, squirrel.
We really don't know what we're doing, so we're gonna just kind of we'll wing it and see what happens. That's kind of what we do, So,
but yeah, we're pretty excited about that. So stay tuned for some more details. Probably coming out in the next week or so as we get that all nailed away. But 10 a.m. Saturday morning, we will be there live. Yeah. So I guess let's do quick drink it or dump it.
And I can say I talked to Seth about that, and he said no because he's a coward. Brad was there. Ask Brad.
Seth said no.
He said not going to happen. He doesn't want the smoke.
JZ, were you there for this conversation or no?
He was not. Brad was.
It's never going to happen.
That's what Seth said.
I made the proposition in our admin chat that you guys should do it during the chili cook-off.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we try to do some do some betting. We raise some money towards something for that night. And then the loser has to eat one of those one-chip challenges, really spicy chips.
I mean, Seth likes eating, so that should work perfectly.
I think it kind of have some good ideas once in a while.
Brad,
but
you did not run over his toe.
We need Seth to buy in. So there he is. Look at that.
Brad, you didn't run over his toe.
Seth, we need you to lock in on this because it would be great content for one. I think a lot of people want to see that.
Yes,
Seth
you do.
does love food, so
Perfect.
You can eat some chili and then
lose this race and eat a chip.
Lose the race and then eat a really hot chip and then shit your brains out for the rest of the day.
See? Thank you, Brad. I have waited.
He did actually say not going to happen.
So I guess we have to go beat up on somebody else.
What's the lock-in for it?
You don't know when the National Open
is?
The
National Open Chili Cook-Off, the morning of the National Open.
The 5th.
Right? Next Saturday.
October 5th. Yeah, you're not busy.
Next Saturday. I don't need a hot chip to do that.
Yeah, we're going to drink it or dump it.
All right. Drink it and dump it. Marie Beasley in here. Drink it Jason Persley and dump it for Chase Dietz on his mechanical failure in the Silver Crown. I'll go first. I will also drink it to Jason Persley. He was going to be my drink it. And then dump it to the end of Dave Blaney's career. It was cool seeing him rip around Sharon, man. And he just got that World of Outlaw win and, with his funky wings and stuff like that he's been, and, different suspension and stuff he's been running the past couple of years when you do see him. So dump it in a good way out to a great career for Dave. Jay-Z, Chris?
I'll drink it for Justin Peck, getting that monkey off his back, getting the win. It's kind of crazy to think about a guy that we talked preseason who's going to have this crazy year, had high expectations, and they haven't lived up to him. And I'm gonna just dump it for Seth because he's still in the chat trying to fight Brad.
He
Dump
did
it for
say
him not wanting to run.
he did say next Saturday with a
Yeah,
bunch of
no,
eyes. So
it's not gonna happen. Just bully anyone watching. Bully Seth. He doesn't want to lose to an old dude. It's fine.
if Seth doesn't want to do it, then we need to find somebody that will race you because I'm so sick and tired of hearing you about wanting to race somebody.
I'm not racing Brad. He offered. I'm like, no. That, I can tell you, Brad, your cart probably has nitrous, so I'm not doing that.
Oh, I should have brought the video up of when you tried to take me out at Williamsgrove and you fell on your face. I beat you. I came second in that race.
Brent Marks.
I can't do that now. I'm too fat. But
Yeah, I actually gained faster. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to drink it. I'm going to do 2. Probably doesn't deserve to have 2, but I'm going to do 2. One, my first one's Corey Day for his NASCAR debut. 7th in the ARCA race, ran all the laps in the truck race, had a really good night. Shout out to to this kid, really mature beyond his years for as old as he is, and out there doing big things. So he's going to carry the banner, I think, for a long time. You know, for the dirt crowd, I think it's going to continue between Larson, Bell, even Chase Briscoe a little bit. I know we don't really like Austin Dillon, but listen, he's a late model driver. Tyler Reddick. These guys are doing big things in big ways. So shout out Corey Day on that and his accomplishments. And the other one is Justin Whittall. Was never going to be upset TJ winning another race, but shout out Justin. He's having a hell of a year after having a hell of a year last year. So man, good for him. You can he feels confident. He looks good behind the race car. Behind the wheel there. Dump it to the 358s. It got torn up at Williams Grove. It was a bunch of them. A few of them have probably ended their season. I hate to see that. Definitely sucks. You don't like to see that at all. So that's mine for this week.
let's get to there's a couple of good fan ones in here tonight. Randy Kopp says, drink it, Dave Blaney and Justin Peck. Dump it to Baps, no race. Tyler Koenig says, drink it to Rico Abreu doing the crotch drop at Eldora in memory of Bloomquist. Yeah, he had a bunch of Bloomquist stuff on it. A big tribute for him, so that was pretty cool to see. Dump it to Kaylee Bryson going 20th into the top 10 before blowing a tire. 3/4 of the field, I felt like blew a tire. It was really unfortunate the way that played out. You wait there till 2 o'clock in the morning to run, and then, you know what track conditions are going to be for the Fork Round. It was really dusty. I know so many people on social media were complaining, but it's been drier. It's been like a desert out in Ohio, so it's dustier than normal. So yeah, bummer for just that whole kind of Silver Crown race. Mitchell Bowles got that win, so shout out to him. Aunt Bay, drink it to Justin Whittle, dump it to Babs canceling early. Brad says, drink it to Ron Rutherford, dump it to Seth. Santos, drink it to Ron for everything he does for the sport. T2T for another awesome show. As always, dump it to me not being a guest on the show yet. In all seriousness, dump it to racing season almost being over. Show up to the chili cook-off and we'll get you on. How about that? Come on up, answer a couple questions, see how you're doing. That'd be cool to see. Mandy, drink it. Blaney announcing his retirement after Whittle winning and the battle with TJ Stutz, and Stutz getting yet another quick time. He's been ripping, dude. Williams Grove announcing a Lynn Paxton tribute race, and Rico's poem and tribute to Bloomquist. Dump it, weather forecast, and Babs canceling the Jump 358 cars at the directs at Williams Grove. Brittany Perigo, dump it to Jay-Z and Jimmy being mean to Chris. First of all, we're never mean to you.
You called me autistic, first of all. And
Yeah, that was more.
Well, you're both mean to me.
I don't know if that's mean. At least
I have one fan, at least. Guys,
You act like it's the first time. Act like you've been there before. Act like you've been bullied before.
Give your balls a tug.
Again, I have 2 fans.
Aunt Bay says, drink it to Ron Rutherford's least favorite driver, starting the heat from the pole going into turn 3 at the Grove Friday. He took his one early jump start like a champ. And then Seth is asking, what time is the cook-off? Got to find my can of whoop-ass before then for Chris Lynn.
Hope your words work as well as your feet.
10 a.m. on Saturday of the Chili. Yeah, no, the Chili Bowl. Jesus Christ. National Open Chili Cook-Off. We'll be there from like 10 to 12. So you let us know, and we're gonna make it happen. Did you really tell her to write that? You are. It sounds like it. It sounds like it. It sounds like you're being a little baby wah-wah. Are we hurting your feelings? I'm sorry.
You didn't hurt my feelings.
It sounds like it. It's okay, Chris. We love you.
Aunt Bay loves me though. Let's end this thing.
Hi, Chris. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will be back next Monday. Thanks again to Ron and Tyler Rutherford. That was a very fun interview. And we will see you guys hopefully at the races this